I found that a lot of people who are interested in psychic work and the metaphysical and the sort of unknown have usually had at least one pretty epic paranormal experience. This is Krishanti with Krishanti.com, and I'm so happy you're here and we can talk about all this stuff. So on this whole channel, it's all about how to activate your intuition and your own innate psychic abilities and to use that for spiritual and personal growth. And tons of videos on here about all of that. But what I personally have noticed is there's people in the world who are kind of predisposed to this type of work, like they're interested in it. Some were interested like from the very beginning, and then some had an experience that made them think like, oh my God, the world isn't what I think it is. And these experiences run the gamut. And while I'm talking about it, if you've had an experience, would you please mind sharing it in the comments below? I'd love to know. And other people would too. We're all having these experiences. Let's talk about them more. But they can run from seeing something like Bigfoot to seeing aliens, alien abductions. I mean, that's the whole thing, to spirit encounters, to having their own knowings about something, even just having or remembering going to an intuitive or having a family member go to an intuitive and getting some really cool insight that made a huge difference. Those are the typical types of things that set people on this path. Sometimes they don't though, and sometimes people just have it and they're like, okay, registered, I'm going to go on with my life. But the point, what I want to talk about here in this video, the point I want to make is that these epic experiences don't need to be a once in a lifetime type of thing. Like, unless you really don't want them to be, like I, for one, don't want to be abducted by aliens. No thanks. And I don't know if might be nice to see Bigfoot, but I might be a little bit scared, but I know he's scared of me. So, okay, I would like to see Bigfoot. But like, the more you concentrate on it, if you want it to happen and you see it as something magical and mysterious, you can actually bring it in and have it be more of an everyday type of thing. So it's not so paranormal, it's normal, and it's no extraordinary, it's ordinary. I know that can diffuse some of the fun, but you know what? Actually, it is still fun, because I'll tell you something. Going through my everyday life, I'm doing this psychic work all the time, but there are times when there's more magic and cool like synchronicities and stuff than others. And when it starts to sort of ebb, I just make that intention, like, I'd like more magic. I'd like to see my spirit animals. I'd like to see the magic sequences of numbers. I'd like to hear from angels. I'd like more synchronicities, more all of this. It does start to come in and show up, so you can kind of like ask it to come closer to you and you can seek it out. The really important thing with all of this is it's up to us to notice when these signs and symbols and these interesting events and extraordinary things come into our life. Because if we have the blinders on and we're not noticing, nothing's going to make a difference. If we're like locked up in our phones, and you know, as many of us are, but we can bring those again more and more into our lives. I was talking to someone who is actually not going to be doing psychic work anymore. She's moving into more creative like artwork. And she said, you know, these magical things, these epic sort of occurrences happen to her to the point where it is now her way of life. So rather than like talk to a person the way someone who maybe not be interested in all this, may just talk to a human being or Google something or be very like three-dimensional in the regular world, she has taken it to a level where she's in the stream, she's in the flow. These events, these synchronicities are speaking to her all the time. She'll notice something and be like, okay, that's a sign and that's a sign. Now, the thing about that is she knows, she's been doing it for so long, she does know the concrete signs. I wouldn't say that you could get to that level yet until you have a solid understanding of what is a sign and what isn't. Because sometimes, is just a cloud covered the sun. It's not a sign. Or that bird just happened to be flying right there. It's not a sign. I'm laughing because I've had this conversation with myself, you guys, where I'm like, okay, Krishanti, that could just be a regular everyday life thing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a sign. So it takes time to get to the level where she is, where she's in that steady stream, in that flow. Give yourself time to get there, but you don't need to have that just one extraordinary experience. If you dive into this work more, and at krishanti.com, you'll see I've created this whole universe of different meditations and courses for you to take that will bring you into this world. It's so fun. And these are really beautiful quality products that do shift energy and awaken your abilities and make a difference. So please check it out. It's just the world becomes more magical when you make that effort. And then the funny thing is, like, you can kind of take a step back and give it a rest if you need to. And then if you want the magic back, it comes back. So check all that out. And thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.